Boys and girls, wherever you could be watching me at this time of the hour, beautiful weather and being experienced here around where I am. I want to welcome you to yet another video lesson concerning revision, detailed revision social studies. And before I commence my lesson, boys and girls, I urge you, boys and girls, if you have any query regarding this revision social studies grade 6 who are waiting for KPSE exam, I have sampled some questions from areas which do give a lot of challenge to many learners. Having taught this subject for quite a number of years, I'm aware and I can predict as to some of the areas where KPSE exam is likely to come from. So kindly write down on the comment section and remember to write your name, school, class, should you be having any question. And me, I'll be at liberty to give you a shout out and that is recognize you. So let's now move on very quickly. First issue, boys and girls. Men have been asking, in Kenya, elective positions are how many? Remember, in Kenya, according to our constitution, we hold elections after every 5 years. Like now, our current president, he cleared year 2 since his presidency started. Is now doing his third year. So after 5 years of sitting in the office, president and the many others in those elected positions, they will step down, do campaign, and then elections will be done. So today, I want to mention those 6 elective positions. When we go to elections, we go to elections to elect who and who and who. And that's why I'm saying there are only 6 elective positions in Kenya. 1, the president. 2, the governor. 3, members of the National Assembly. These are the MPs who represent constituencies. 4, members of the Senate who represent the 47 counties. 5, women representatives who represent various constituencies. And finally, members of the county assemblies. These are the MCS who represent a small area by the name award. So, boys and girls, those are the 6 elective positions in Kenya as far as our elections are concerned. Number 2, a boy what inquired from me very briefly, sir. Kindly, can you discuss about the composition of the National Assembly? Remember, in Kenya, we have got 3 types of parliaments. We have the so-called the national government, the National Assembly, which in bracket we call it the lower house. Then we have the Senate House, which in bracket we can call it the upper house. And when we go down to the counties, we have the county assembly. The county assembly. Today, I want to talk about the composition of the National Assembly. Who are the people who make up the National Assembly? Boys and girls, National Assembly, it is made of 1, 290 elected members of parliament. 290 elected members of parliament. Number 2, it also comprises of 47 women each elected from a county. And then it also comprises of 12 members nominated from or rather nominated by political parties. And these parties are given slots. If it is Wiper, for example, it is given a slot of like 2 MPs. If it is a ODM party, it is given this slot. If it is UDA, it is given a slot. If it is that Mindelo Chap Chap, just the same. Plus another party. But the slot depends on how powerful, on how big the party is. Then, still in the National Assembly, we have another member who is known as the Speaker. Remember, the Speaker is an ex-official member, meaning that should there be any form of decision which is about voting, the Speaker will always abstain from voting. He cannot vote. And then I want to say, in totality, the National Assembly is composed of 350 members. Then there's also another people who wanted to know, sir, kindly elaborate on the arms of the government. The arms of the government are three. Very quickly. Number one, we have the executive. Executive, its mandate is to make sure that it runs the country, headed by the president. Then we have the judiciary. Judiciary has to do with legal matters. These are the courts and what have you, and it is headed by the Chief Justice. Of course, right now we have Mother Kome. And then the other arm of the government is the legislature or the parliament, which is headed by various speakers, and its mandate is to make and amend laws. And then somebody else wanted to know, kindly sir, can you tell us what are human rights? And if possible, give us classification of human rights. Human rights are the basic rights and the freedoms that belong to every person in the world from that date of birth to death. These are the fundamental basic rights and the freedoms are the freedom that belong to an individual, to every person in the world from birth to death. And now, classification of rights. The following are the classification of rights. We have what we call political rights. We have what we call social rights. We have what we call economic rights. We have what we call civil rights. And finally, we have what we call environment rights. In my next episode, I'll be explaining further what comprises of it. Now, let me go now to the other. There's a pupil who wanted me to talk about regional cooperation. Remember, regional cooperation is when 2 or 3 countries come together to form a bloc. That's what you call regional cooperation. And in this case, I want to talk about East Africa Community, ESC. Now, this East Africa Community, ESC, was started in the year 1967 by 3 member states. These were Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And then, as time went on, in the year 1977, it collapsed. And remember, the main reason as to why it collapsed, it was mistrust. It was because of mistrust among the 3 member states. And then, after a long period of seeing the disadvantage of it collapsing, those presidents, they saw the need to revive it. And it was revived in the year 2000. Now, when it was revived, its headquarters was still, just like before, it was still located in Arusha, Tanzania. And now, as we talk now, who are the current member states of ESC, East Africa Community? These are Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi. Then there is DRC, and of course, the latest member to join is Somalia. There is somebody who wants to know, kindly sir, can you elaborate, asking about countries and who was the colonizer, who was the colonizer, the following countries. And these are the countries and the colonists, the colonizer. For example, Kenya was a colony of the British. Tanzania, that is Tanganyika, was a colony of German. Zimbabwe was a colony of the British. Uganda was a colony of British again. Rwanda was a colony of the France that is. Rwanda, French. Burundi was a colony of French. DRC was a colony of France. Congo was a colony of Belgium. Somalia was a colony of Italy. And remember this, boys and girls. Ethiopia was never colonized. Ethiopia was never colonized. During those times, it had a very formidable army under the leadership of Menelik II, I think so. And then somebody wants to know, kindly, can you tell us when these very important people, VIP people, some of them were presidents in this Africa, in Africa, which year were they born and where? And I want to begin with our founding father. Mzee Jomo Kenyatta was born in the year 1896 in Ngenda, in a small village by the name Ngenda in Kiambu County. Daniel Arap Moi was born in the year 1924 in a small village by the name Sacho in Baringo, in by then Baringo district. Oginga Odinga, the father of the formidable Laila Amolo Odinga, was born in the year 1911 in Siaya district. Wangari Maathai, the fighter of green environment, she was born in the year 1940 in Tetu, those are Mkuruweni, in Nyeri district. What about Julius Nyerere, the founding father of Tanzania? He was born in the year 1919. 1919, some books say 1920, at a small village by the name Butiama, that is a village in Musoma district. What about El Salasia, or you can call him Ras Makonnen? Ras Makonnen or El Salasia was born in the year 1891 in Aral, that is in Ethiopia. And then finally we look at Nelson Mandela, that champion, the father of the Republic of South Africa. He was born in the year 1918 in Transvaal, province of South Africa. Another details about Mandela. Mandela was a great leader, and he voluntarily stepped out of power. Now, let me now talk about some of the major African highways. And at this particular juncture, I want to talk about the Great North Road. The Great North Road. The Great North Road runs from Cape Town in South Africa to Cairo in Egypt. And it cuts through these countries. For example, it enters Tanzania at Tunduma. And then it enters Kenya at Namanga. And then it passes through Nairobi. And also it exits Kenya at Waji and upwards. Finally, the other road highway I want to talk about is that one is about this one, the one which I'm saying is the Trans-African Highway. But now, because I can see time is running out, I want to talk about it in my next episode. As for now, kindly, should you have any query, don't hesitate. I will shout out as I'll shout out.